looking at the numbers for Northampton County, obviously Carbon County is much smaller. And looking at who all is going to qualify, how many folks can you get into a drug court? You talked a little bit about the qualification. What is the cost per person coming into a drug court program versus going through the regular court system? And obviously there's savings there at the end. What are some of the startup costs? Because I think it's important that if we're going to look at the problem, like you said, it has a lot of tentacles. I think drug courts is obviously a huge benefit to that. But what are we talking in cost to get these programs up and running?
Well, actually, as far as Northampton County is concerned, I'm happy to tell you that it didn't cost us anything. Basically, my law clerk became the administrator of the program to get it off the ground, and we did get one outside grant from the Two Rivers Health and Wellness Foundation to pay for some incentives for our participants when they do well. We like to incentivize them. But we're going to be putting a modest amount of funding in our budget for this year. But basically what we're doing is redirecting the drug and alcohol dollars, and we're using that money more efficiently to the people that, that need it. And since they're under court supervision, as Judge Boylan said, there's a big difference between someone that is addicted and seeking help on their own and when they're under court supervision, because we have the hammer that oftentimes is necessary. Our drug court is a post-conviction court, so we don't deal with the individuals that are sentenced or pre-sentenced. It's not a diversionary court where their charges go away. So our court is dealing with the hardcore addicts. So by the time they come to drug court, I mean their probation file is a couple inches thick. So we're dealing with a really problematic population.
A lot of folks that I talk to, and I probably started a lot of these conversations talking about drug courts, and I think a lot of perception of drug courts is that somebody gets picked up for having drug paraphernalia, maybe the first time they get picked up. Would they be put right into a drug court program?
No.
They're just going to go through the but do you think that it would be beneficial if there was more of a model program for those first-time offenders to get them
I do.
right, early on? The drug courts, from what I'm hearing, is for the folks that have been in the system quite a while, and it's a great program, but how do we grow that?
We have a program in Bucks County called the CAP program. Those of you who are familiar with youth aid panels, I was able to, I think we're the only county in the state that has this. But I would like to see, what happens is if it's a low-level offense, a misdemeanor offense, and it might be possession of marijuana, the case is diverted to a community panel that immediately sees the individual, gives them conditions to complete, and then their record is expunged. I think we need to look at immediate responses to some of these things, whether it's that type of diversion or other forms of diversion, so that people do not graduate, especially in the life of a young person. A lot happens in 6 months. When I say young, I mean up to age 25. I'm not talking about just, a 14-year-old. A lot happens over that period of time, and we often see them graduate to other things. So yes, I do think we need, but we don't, the research says the worst thing you can do is take a first-time offender or second-time possession of drug paraphernalia offender and put him with our drug court population, because they will get an advanced education from our people. So you don't put high-risk offenders with lower-risk offenders. But I definitely think we should be looking at how we divert and address more immediately those issues.